చౌదరి గారు ప్రజ్ఞా భారతికి చైర్మన్ వారి గైడెన్స్లోనే మేము పనిచేస్తూ ఉన్నాము. అందరికీ సుపరిచితులే మన గెస్టులందరూ. రామచంద్రరావు గారు సుప్రీం కోర్ట్ అడ్వకేట్ అండ్ ఎక్స్ ఎమ్మెల్సీ ఆల్సో, అండ్ వివేక్ రెడ్డి గారు తెలంగాణ హైకోర్టులో యంగెస్ట్ సీనియర్ అడ్వకేట్, ఐ కెన్ సే దట్. ఈ రోజున ఈ టాపిక్ పైన అంటే ఉపన్యాసంలాగా ఒకళ్ళు మాట్లాడటం కాకుండా వారి వర్షన్ వారు మనకి షేర్ చేస్తారు. అందరికీ కూడా మాట్లాడే అవకాశం ఉంటుంది. సో ఆల్రెడీ మనకు అనుకున్న దానికంటే కొంచెం పావుగంట డిలేడ్ మనం ఆల్రెడీ. సో నా ఐ రిక్వెస్ట్ హనుమాన్ చౌదరి గారిని ఈరోజు కార్యక్రమం మొదలు పెట్టాల్సిందిగా.
नमस्कार.
नमस्कार.
जय श्री राम. First of all, let us pay tribute to two great people, श्यामा प्रसाद जी मुखर्जी. एक संविधान, एक प्रधान, एक निशान. That was the slogan. With that, the Jammu and Kashmir should be integrated in all ways. But there cannot be two prime ministers, there cannot be two constitutions, there cannot be two flags. That was the Nara. And ably assisted, even earlier than that one, Pandit Premnath Dogra, the grand old man of Jammu and Kashmir. He founded the Pragna Bharati and he fought for the total integration, unconditional integration of the Jammu and Kashmir state with the rest of Bharat. So on this occasion we should remember these two. And there is another great man, Balraj Madhok. He was the founder president of the ABVP, an RSS worker, a prolific writer, thinker. Of course he differed from the BJP leaders later on, but he did not allow, until he died, there was a Jansang, and he was also running a paper also, Jansang Today. He is a prolific writer. So these three names we have to remember in connection with whatever we are talking of Jammu and Kashmir, pay tributes to them. Now, just see this one. October 27, 1947, the Maharaja of Jammu and Kashmir signed the accession, ఏముంటుందండి రికార్డ్ and the agreement, accession agreement. It is no different from the other 565 people. The same type of agreement was signed by all other people. Then why a difference was made in respect of J&K? Now see another thing, the miscarriage of justice. The Maharaja who signed the accession, he was deposed and almost expelled from his state. Whereas the one who waged war against India, that is the Nizam of Nawab Nizam, the Nizam fellow, he was made a Rajapramukh. See the injustice. The man who signed the accession, निष्कासित किया गया है अपने देश से, and the man who waged a war against India, he was made a Rajapramukh. And the accession was done, constitution was being made, they also had a constituent assembly. And why did all this happen? When we were writing the constitution, they wanted a separate constitution also. The entire Congress party was against giving any separate status to Jammu and Kashmir. Then Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, his inexplicable effulgence of love for Sheikh Abdullah, he asked Sheikh Abdullah, please go and see and talk to Dr. Ambedkar. He went to Dr. Ambedkar pleading that I want special status for so and so, etc. Ambedkar, he said, it is worthwhile reading that what Dr. Ambedkar has said. When Sheikh Abdullah met Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, he gave him a patient hearing. After Abdullah had finished, Ambedkar told him, quotations, "You want India to defend Kashmir, feed its people, undertake its all-round development, and give Kashmir equal rights all over the country, but you do not want the rest of India and Indians equal rights in Kashmir. I am the Law Minister of India. I have sworn my loyalty to this country. I cannot betray my country." With these words, he refused to draft the article. Abdullah desired. Nehru never dared to talk to Ambedkar on this subject. This showed that Ambedkar was a better nationalist than Nehru, and his approach in regard to Kashmir was more realistic. This is a quotation taken from Balraj Madhok's book. It is a quotation. It is in the records of the Constitution also. So friends, this Article 370 was an interposition against the will of the people, against the will of the Constituent Assembly, and Nehru got it, but he did not have the guts to face the Congress when he went out of India requesting Dr. Sardar Patel, "I have given my word to Sheikh Abdullah, please convince the Congress members of the Constituent Assembly to agree to this Article 370. This is the history of this Article 370. And when this was being talked against in the Parliament again and again, Nehru said, "Jate jate, ghiste jayega ye, ghiste chale jayega." That means it will be over a period of time, it will be completely taken away, etc. But he never did it in his lifetime or daughter's lifetime or grandson's lifetime or any other lifetime. It is given to us, to Mr. Narendra Ji Modi, to daringly remove that concept. Luckily, I think you must have been waiting with bated breath what the Supreme Court would say about Article 370. When we were following the arguments, there was a ray of hope in the interjections that the judges made, especially of the Chief Justice, that Article 370 will be struck. Isn't it? That was a ray of hope. It was not quite sure, but it was quite very well managed. Now that is over. What next? That is the problem. What next is the problem. I will be presenting certain statistics later on, but let me tell, I am arguing that J and K should be broken up into two separate states. Jammu is one state, like Telangana or any other state. Kashmir also to be another state. And Ladakh has to continue as a union territory for various reasons. A border state, sparsely populated, so on and so forth, etc., etc. Now, Jammu Hindus will be suffering in a combined state. In these 75 years plus, there were 9 chief ministers in Kashmir. Not one of them was a Hindu. In contrast to this, we had 4 Muslims as presidents of this country, 4 justices as chief justices of the Supreme Court, a Muslim as the Air Marshal commanding the Indian Air Force, Latif, Air Marshal, and in the Hindu majority states of Bihar and Rajasthan. In Bihar it was on Gafoor. This was all in 1970s. Who was the chief minister? Again in the 1970s, Indira and the ascendant, Barkatullah Khan, he was the chief minister. These things will come later. Kindly listen. Barkatullah Khan was the chief minister. That means in the Hindu majority states, Muslims could rise to every position, including the Home Minister of India, whose daughter was kidnapped. So 4 chief justices, 4 presidents, and of course in the High Court, so many of them. Recently, the first woman Muslim Chief Justice of the Kerala High Court and Judge of the Supreme Court, she died recently, very recently, at a very, very ripe old age of 98 years, 99 years. So Muslims can rise to any position in the Hindu majority states. They have risen, and nobody has said that they should not do that one. But in Jammu and Kashmir, why did it not happen? Every time, only a Muslim has got to be chief minister. Now, there are no minority commissions where Hindus are minorities. And Hindus are a minority in Jammu and Kashmir, and of course, are so many states in the northeast as well as Punjab. And very soon, there will be a minority in Kerala also. It used to be 67% Hindu in 1951. Now it is 52%. By the next census, they will be 49%. So whether they will be called minority or not, or do not know. So minority welfare departments, no minority commissions where Hindus are a minority. If J and K is going to be one state, Hindus as a minority will be deprived of all these things. Now, Kashmiriyat, what is this Kashmiriyat? When the Pandits were expelled, did any of the Kashmiri Muslim leaders say no? Did they protect them? Even today, until now, anybody has expressed regret? They are living here, there and everywhere. That would be the position there. Now, this is exactly what Prophet Muhammad has done in Medina. In Medina, after the battle of Badr, that is the first battle that he has waged against his own country, that is Makkah, his own region. So after the battle of Badr, he won that one. He became very, very proud, very assertive. He became the government. So there were 3 Jewish tribes in and around Medina. So puffed up with the victory in Badr, he asked the Jewish one tribe, embrace Islam. They did not. He expelled them. The second battle was against Mecca, the battle of the trenches. In that, he suspected the Jews were not supporting. Therefore, he said, you leave all your properties here, get out, you leave your properties here. Now, a third one, the last tribe there, he did not allow them to go away. He lined them up, 800 of them, men, and he asked them to dig a trench. A trench was dug, and one after another, just like bike race, Tan se Sir Joda, under his direct supervision from morning to evening, 800 heads were rolled. This is what exactly every Muslim will repeat, because what is taught to them in the Quran as well as in the madrasa is, he is the ideal person. Whatever he has done must be done by us. He has taken to terrorism is one. By the way, a good book is coming. Arvind Rao, the former Director General, has written a book. It's a wonderful book in this very simple English language. Whatever is there in our thoughts is now inscribed into that book. That is terror as the shield, terror as the shield. You can criticize Christ, you can criticize the Bible, but your head will still be there. But if you criticize anything in Islam, your head will be gone. So that's what is going to, when all the Pandits were expelled in 1989-90, 1890, nobody came to there. And even afterwards, Kashmiriyat batata hai, like, are they calling them back? Are they giving them the shelter? No. On the other hand, the Rohingyas, whom Malaysia refuses to keep them with them, every other country is refusing to keep with them. Those Rohingyas are coming, and where are they settled? In Jammu, the Hindu majority area, not in Srinagar. In order to change the balance of the population in the Jammu also. I will show you the figures, etc. later on. So what I am saying is, in any combined state of J and K, with a Muslim majority, the Hindus will be second-rate citizens. This is what Dr. Ambedkar has said. You see, because Ambedkar has written a lot about Islam. Dr. Ambedkar's happiness at the separation of India from Pakistan. He has written a book, Pakistan or India Partitioned. That was in 1941, after the 1940 March Lahore resolution for Pakistan. Dr. Ambedkar was happy, this is what he has declared in the Rajya Sabha, was happy at the partition of India. He was happy at the partition of India. He advocated the partition of India, saying that is the only thing that will save Hindus. But he expressed his happiness in the following words. I was glad that India was separated from Pakistan. India was separated from Pakistan, not Pakistan separated from India. I was the philosopher, so to say, of Pakistan, because he advocated Pakistan and exchange of population simultaneously. Exchange of populations, and he quoted the League of Nations, where when the Turkish Empire was dissolved, there was an exchange of population between Christians and Muslims in Turkey and the rest of the Europe. I advocated Pakistan because I felt that it was only by partition that Hindus would not only be independent but free. There is a difference between being independent and being free. There will be only, if Pakistan, the Muslims go away, it will be India, Hindus will be independent and free. If India and Pakistan had remained united in one state, Hindus would be not independent, would have been in the mercy of Muslims. That's what is in the Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir. Muslims, a merely independent India would not have been a free India. He makes a distinction between independent India and a free India. Free from the point of view of the Hindus. It would have been a government of one country by two nations. Because Muslims have said that even now they think that it is a separate nation. They belong to a worldwide millat, a kaum. Free. And of these two, that is of Hindus and Muslims, the Muslims without question would have been the ruling race. As it is happening already begun in India. Notwithstanding Hindu Mahasabha and Janasangh. When partition took place, I felt that God was willing to lift the curse and let India be one great and prosperous nation. But I fear that the curse is continuing. The curse is continuing. Pakistan was created not by the Muslims of Muslim majority provinces. It was created by the Muslims of the Hindu majority provinces. Punjab, there was a coalition government of Sikhs and Congress and Unionist Party. Northwest frontier was ruled by Congress. And in Bengal, there was a precarious this way and that way government. So it is only the Madras and the other so-called Hindu provinces, the Muslims there, who took to direct action, kill everywhere. So, but they did not go. And remember, Gandhiji fasted unto death in order to not to allow the Muslims from Delhi to go to Pakistan. He also told the Indian commissioner, High Commissioner in Pakistan, to bring back all the Muslims into India. And he fasted unto death, saying, no Muslim shall be killed, no Muslim shall go away from Delhi. Did any Muslim do this in Kashmir, J&K? Will they ever do this? Will they ever do this one? You only have to listen to or rather read whatever our AIM leader is saying every day, Asaduddin Owaisi. So in a combined state of J&K, Hindus will be the ruled persons. Expulsion template, as I told, Prophet Muhammad himself did it. And it is ordained, it is told, it is dinned into the mind of the Muslims in the madrasas. You should all behave like Prophet Muhammad has. Now, expulsion of template, settling Rohingyas in Jammu and Kashmir. There are already minority states in India. Nagaland is a Christian state. Meghalaya is a Christian state. Mizoram is a Christian state. And Arunachal is going to be a Christian state very soon. It is now Buddhist. It is likely to be overrun by the people may say, but when the UPA government was in power, 2004 to 14, they appointed what is called a Sachar committee. That fellow is son of the Bhimsen Sachar, a great Hindu leader, a chief minister of first divided Punjab. His son, as Justice Sachar, his father, Justice Sachar, identified 80 plus districts. In Andhra Pradesh, Kadapa is one of them, Kurnool is another one. Here there are some 2 or 3 districts in Telangana, where they are all called Muslim dominant or prominent districts. They should all be converted into Muslim majority districts. How? Muslim first program ordained by the Italian lady, Indo-Italian family. I am calling not Anglo-Indians, they are Indo-Italian family, ordained by them, and using Manmohan Singh in order to launch Muslim first programs. 14 lakh crores of rupees were spent. I got a RT, Right to Information Act. 14 lakhs of crores were spent upon these 80 districts for Muslims. I have been requesting somebody to study in these districts with all this one. Already composite districts have been partitioned in India. The first one was done by communists in Kerala when Malabar was dismembered into a Muslim majority Malapur. It was followed by the Congress, all again by the Indo-Italian led Congress party by dividing and creating Mewat district, where recently the Hindus were at the receiving end. The Gurgaon district was, and very recently Malerkotla in Punjab was also separated to become a Muslim majority district. There are already Muslim majority districts. The prospect is all these Muslim majority districts will first form society, all India society, then a federation, then they will declare independence. If 565 princedoms could be there, why not this? You know, there was also a move for Princesstan. In 1946-47, under the leadership of the Nawab of Bhopal, all the 565 fellows wanted to create a Princesstan guided by Churchill. And it was great Sardar Patel who has foiled all such attempts. So J&K, what is the reason? So there are already non-Hindu majority states in India. Therefore, the argument that why are you creating one more falls flat. Then J&K is a border state. Pakistan is undermining India. Arunachal Pradesh is also a border state. China is undermining us. Kashmir itself is a border state. China is undermining us. Day before yesterday only, they said Ladakh is ours. China has clearly said Ladakh is ours. So, because it is a border state, it is a sensitive state, therefore it should be together also is a false flat. Now, Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul, in the Article 370 judgment, he said there should be a Truth and Reconciliation Commission to find out or to bring peace and understanding and community, etc., in J&K. A Truth and Reconciliation Commission was first established in South Africa by the great Nelson Mandela. He asked the blacks and the whites to say what atrocities you have committed, you confess and express regret. We will forget and live together. This was followed by country Peru in South America. Between the natives who have now become majority, now they also are forcing, Bolivia is forcing that one. 10 years ago, I wrote in a paper for the Indian History Congress that we want a Truth and Reconciliation Commission. There are 3,000 temples in India which had been broken, and in those very, very places, masjids have been constructed. There is a list of them, and it has been given by the article. So a lot of evidence is there. Now one after another is coming. Ayodhya, uske baad kya hua? Varanasi, and today what it is Mathura. Shall we go on like this? Like the difficulty that comes whenever a child is born, we will go through the same convolutions. Therefore, there must be another truth and reconciliation, not only for J&K, but for the whole of India. So what next? That's what I said. This what next is what we have to ask for. Governments in exiles. Now, there is already a POK, occupied Kashmir. There is already a Tibetan government in India, in exile, in Dharmashala. Why not we create a Baluchistan government in exile? They are wanting that, petitioning government of India, or rather the political parties and all. Because if there is a POK, yes, we have got a Baluchistan. Similarly, Gilgit and all. Finally, one more, and then I will show you through the figures. What is the final one which I wanted to say? Just a second. Excel POK. Right at me. Nominated. Now the bill is that two Pandits will be nominated. Similarly, some scheduled castes and scheduled tribes will be nominated by the Lieutenant Governor. The Pandit Association has come down saying nominated fellows have no respect at all. Why don't you reserve 3 constituencies for Pandits? Reserve constituencies, just as you have reserved for scheduled castes, reserve 3 constituencies, and they have given the names also, where there used to be many Pandits. So that is, I think that is a very, very reasonable demand, and that 3 places must be reserved for them so that they will have. Now we will go through some of the figures. I hope you will be able to see. This is about I can't see from here, the proportion of population in India in 1951, Hindus were 84.1%. In 2023, they are 73%. They are 73%, declined from 84 to 73%. Modi ji himself has said that the Muslim population is now 17%. It was 9.8% in 1951 census. And the Christians are 1951 2.1, now also 2.1. Can you believe this one? Tens of thousands of churches have come. They are not less than 5 to 7.5%. In Andhra Pradesh, they are claiming 15%. That is all the scheduled castes. And they create a Christian majority district in Andhra Pradesh. Who can mention that one? Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar Amalapuram district. It is a Christian majority district. It is there that our rathas of this Swamiji, that Swamiji, etc. are broken in that place. Next one, you go there. Population of India 1951, 36 crores are, and today it is 140. The population density, our area has not grown, 3.2 million square kilometers. The population density was 110, now it is 465. 4.5 times the density. Land has not grown, it doesn't grow, but the population is growing. And urban, it used to be 15%, now 34%. This has got a lot of impact upon Hindu, whether Hindus should survive or not. Now, next one, J&K. If you take J&K, the population was 12 million, 12.5 million. Pak-occupied POK is 4 million. Gilgit is 1.5 million. And Kashmir Valley, which is in India, it has got 68 lakhs or 56.3% of combined J&K, and the Hindus, that is Jammu, are 43.7%, and Ladakh is 2.74, which is insignificant. The density is, Kashmir Valley density is 43% per square kilometer. Jammu density is 20.35 because vast area, less population there, and Ladakh 4.6%. Now, compare this, what Kashmir will be, what Jammu will be separate, as separate states. Now, as I said, Kashmir population 68 lakhs, Jammu 53 lakhs. Density 43 in Kashmir and 20 in Jammu. Now, if you take some other areas, Meghalaya, Manipur, Tripura, Mizoram, all of them compare better than Jammu, compare worse than Jammu, separated from J&K or from Kashmir. So, no, that is going to be a small area, small population does not hold good. If Mizoram can be a state, if with 1.4 per million people, another could be a state, why not Jammu with so many people with 58 lakhs and Kashmir with 66 lakhs? And one thing here, there is a breeding state in India. Its main product is child production. That is Bihar. Highest population density of 1120. 1100 per density per square kilometer. It beats Kerala. It has beaten long back Kerala. And it has got the lowest per capita income of 57,000 rupees. All India is 1,75,000. Telangana is 3,20,000. Highest per capita income in Telangana, a greatest achievement in the history of India. Within 9 years, it has beaten every other state. So many, compared to so many states in density, etc., separate Jammu state, separate Kashmir state will be having positive marks, qualifying for a independent, and that is the reason, that is the only way in which Hindus can escape from the domination of Muslims as Ambedkar wanted, as all of us also want. Now, with two more quotations, I will finish. Muhammad Ali Jinnah, in Lahore Resolution, we are two nations. This speech is, I am reading excerpt. It is extremely difficult to appreciate why our Hindu friends have failed to understand the real nature of Islam and Hinduism. They are not religions in the strict sense of the word, but are in fact different and distinct social orders. And it is a dream, that the Hindus and Muslims can ever evolve a common nationality. And the misconception of one Indian nation has gone far beyond the limits and is the cause of most of our troubles and will lead India to destruction if we fail to revise our notions in time. But we are two different nations. We have got two different theologies, two worldviews, two prophets. Of course, we don't have any prophet. So like that, that is what he has said. And Dr. Ambedkar has gone beyond. In his book, he has said, shall I read it out or he has said, it is genetic. It has gone into the blood of the Muslims. It has got to go into the blood, because that's what the Quran says. That's what is taught in the madrasas. 24,000 of them in one UP state. There were only about 10,000 before independence. 24,000 madrasas. And what is it that is taught? That is a Quran recitation taught. Hate is written there. There are 85 ayats, that is just like slokas, where it says kill. Despise. Don't have, and you can also feign, you can deceive to see that Islam succeeds. Never marry other fellows. Don't. So these are the injections. I'll finish it with one more. That is what I want to say is, to think that Hindu-Muslim unity is possible is a dream. We have a National Integration Council, which Indira Nehruji started in 1970s. No, not Nehru, because he died in 64. So it was started in National Integration Council. Are we able to integrate Hindus and Muslims? Is it ever possible? Pranado Vishwamaryam, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, whereas they say millat. Whereas the United Nations has come with Universal Declaration of Human Rights, to which we have appended our signature. The 62 Muslim countries in the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, OIC, founded in Rabat, they have come out with a Islamic Declaration of Human Rights. They were not humans. We are Muslims. We are not humans. We are Muslims. So with all this one, how do you think it is possible? Therefore, do you want to say, exterminate them? Not possible. In India, the problem is, when there are about 20 crores and the largest Muslim country in the world, even Pakistan hasn't got this much population. I think we have exceeded, all Muslims have exceeded even Bangladesh. What will you do with them? So what next, in the context of what next in the J&K, we have to see in the 2047, the PFI, the Popular Front of India, a Muslim organization, has got a clear ideology, clear target that by that time, a Muslim lady shall rule India. And OVC has clearly exhibited a lady in Karnataka, walking like this one, like a Kodupunju and Matandi. And already it is now through surrogates, West Bengal, Bihar, sorry to say, Telangana. All these are ruled by surrogates. And that will go on expanding. 2047 is Armageddon for Hindus. Shall we wait until then until we kill them? Or shall we wake up? So it should start with J&K, a proper solution. I have given you how there are already non-Hindu majority states and how Hindus are suffering there. No welfare departments, no some commission, human rights commissions, etc., etc. But how do we get this one? And what else is now troubling is, in the context of J&K again, North India and South India is going to be divided. We are going to have, if the number of seats are reserved, are revised, in the next 800 and odd MPs will be there. And South India will have only about 200. Now it is about 27% of the total MPs are from South India, 4 states, 4 language groups. It will further go down. Then will it widen north-south? So I think it is intellectuals must think now, think now, think now. And Dr. Ambedkar's warning that it has become a DNA. Yes, it has to become a DNA of every Muslim because that's what the Quran says. And the Prophet Muhammad's life, you may criticize Allah, but you cannot criticize Muhammad. We cannot criticize Muhammad. And see, who wrote that verses?
Satanic verses.
That satanic verse, Salman Rushdie. When was the pronounced? Fatwa was pronounced in 1983 or so. 84 it was pronounced. Recently, a Muslim in America has gone and attacked him. That is in their DNA. As Ambedkar has said, it is in the DNA. Anybody reading Quran, I have read Quran. I lived in Yemen for 1.5 years. I was the leader of the international team of telecommunication experts writing their plans. 8-year-old child will come and ask me, why don't you become a Muslim? 8-year-old child is asking. Whereas my grandson who was with me, he told those fellows, you see, you pray, the Bangladeshis pray 5 times a day. They are devastated by floods. We don't pray at all. Nothing happens to us. My 7-year-old grandson has said this one to the Muslim fellows. But this is what we teach, and this is what they teach. That's where the difference is coming.
Muslim also, she was attacked.
Here she was going to be Draupadiized. And they wanted to disrobe her and do this. It's not only that. When Arun Shourie was debating under the auspices of the Pragna Bharati in Bharati Vidya Bhavan, you were also there. A number of Muslim ladies jumped onto the stage to finish him because he was quoting from the Quran and this and that. No, they will not allow. That's where the trouble is coming. And do you think he is a rabid Hindu? No, I am not a rabid Hindu. I was a communist. I still believe in so many Marxist principles. But I have gone beyond that one. I find that only Vedanta and where is the Hindu, what is called the Hindu philosophy, Sanatana Dharma philosophy, is the only solution for the world. For the world, it is Dr. Ani Besant has her quotation. She says, I have read all the scriptures. I have lived, I have discussed everything. In the world, there is nothing more sublime than Hinduism is there. If Hindu children, sons of Hinduism, do not protect Hinduism, who will protect? That's our wailing. I will stop at this one.
Thank you, Choudary Garu, for your detailed observations, for sharing them.
One observation. When Arvind Rao's book comes, I am afraid there will be a fatwa against him. I have to warn him. Because he has referred to all these things, including Nupur Sharma. Nupur Sharma read out from the Bible, from the Quran. And after some time, the Muslim clerics said, yes, they are in the Quran. That is, you have to behead them, the Kafirs. Right. You see, terror is their shield. Terror is the shield. They will not allow any criticism.
Now, thank you once again, sir. Now we have Advocate Niharika ji amongst us. Now, I request her to walk us through this evening's program from now on. Now, please request Ramchandra.
Sure. Thank you for providing this opportunity. So now I request Sir Ramchandra to enlighten us about this.
Namaskar. Let me apologize because when the judgment was pronounced, I was in London, so I had not gone through the entire judgment, but still I had an opportunity to go through the gist of the judgment, and as you all know that this is a basically politico-legal case. Must understand the background of why this question has come up. It was in the manifesto of a political party, right from Jan Sangh to Bharatiya Janata Party, that Article 370 has to be abrogated. Part 21 of the Constitution of India has described Article 370 and other provisions as temporary and transitional provisions of the Constitution. And this provision, Article 370, giving autonomy to a particular state, was there in Jammu and Kashmir, and Jammu and Kashmir had its own constitution and had its own even penal code, Ranbir code, which is called. And majority of the legislations which were actually passed in our parliament were not extended to the state of Jammu and Kashmir. If you see the wordings like Advocates Act or whatever it may be, you see, this act is applicable to entire country except Jammu and Kashmir. That was the verbatim of any legislation which were made. Not only that, the people of Jammu and Kashmir, because of the Article 370, were not getting certain privileges which the mainland Indians were getting. Firstly, the reservations. The reservations like scheduled caste reservations or scheduled tribe reservations, or for that matter, the economically weaker section reservations or whatever it may be, which were extended to the people of this country, were denied to the people of Jammu and Kashmir. The government of India was pumping huge funds to keep the Jammu and Kashmir to show to the world that it is part of our nation. Though it is part of our nation, unfortunately, the impression was given that Jammu and Kashmir is forcibly with the Indian Union. And therefore, everyone used to think that human right is being violated in Jammu and Kashmir. Jammu and Kashmir, people are being harassed, people are being, military and police is being used to suppress their voices, all these things. There are 2-3 particular incidents, then I will go into legal aspect because I don't want to, because you should know the genesis of why this question has come actually. There was an incident in Jammu, a Kathua incident, where a girl was allegedly kept in a temple, and the temple priest and few others were sexually abused her for a long time. And when it came to the fore, the human rights and other things, they all fought for it, and the girl was brought to the court, and these people were arrested. And there was a hue and cry both in Jammu and Kashmir, both. At that time, Srimati Chief Minister, what is her name? Mufti, Mahbooba Mufti. And then, of course, BJP was also part of the government then. And then she was not interested to see that the truth comes out. The reason is why I am telling this is that there is a demographic change in Jammu. Jammu is basically a Hindu dominant region, and Kashmir is a Muslim dominant region. During winters, if you go to any snow-clad areas, you will know and you will see that the grass is not grown there. So for grazing of the goats, they used to come to Jammu. This Bakrawala, the goats who is a shepherd like. And when they used to come to just for during winter, they never used to go back to Kashmir. They used to stay back there. So thereby, and because they are citizens of Jammu and Kashmir, they are getting the share in all of what all Jammu and Kashmir, Jammu is getting. They become the citizens there. They become the subject there. They get votes. So thereby, the demography of Jammu is also slowly started changing. It is also becoming a Muslim dominant area. This is where the main heartburn has come, and therefore the people there had their own grievance against the government. And this is one reason that people were there, and they were all so much worried that this thing is happening. And there the government was harassing the Jammu Hindus because they were opposing the Bakrawalas to stay back there. This is one reason, but the other reason is the other factor which we must also remember, the 1989-90, which is not so past, which is fresh in our memory. A small incident led the Kashmiri Pandits to leave that place. Thousands of families have left, but even today, no human rights commission, no human rights organization, they have any sympathy for them. No one has cried. No political party except the Bharatiya Janata Party had come forward. Now and then, that too, yes, I can say that because of many political reasons. So, this was the reason that the Jammu and Kashmir, what was happening there, no one knew actually. And therefore, the Bharatiya Janata Party, since the beginning, was against the temporary provisions of this being continued. The temporary provisions of constitution continued. So, therefore, it was decision was taken to see that Article 370 is abrogated, because like in Uttar Pradesh, when Ram Janmabhoomi issue was taken up, Bharatiya Janata Party government came into power, that is Kalyan Singh. Then people used to write on the walls, "Ab to sarkar teri, to mandir mein kahe deri." So when your government is yours, why are you not constructing Ram Janmabhoomi temple? And then Ram Naam Japo, mandir ko mat banao, and like this, these type of slogans were there. So, but now Ram Janmabhoomi has become a reality. So same way the Bharatiya Janata Party government at the center, we got majority in the Lok Sabha, more than 300 plus, and we thought it is the right time to see that Article 370 is abrogated. And thereby it was introduced first in Rajya Sabha, where we had no majority, but some political parties supported us, and they helped us to see that this particular order is passed in the Rajya Sabha, and subsequently Lok Sabha also passed it. And through a presidential order, the Jammu and Kashmir and the Ladakh region were divided, and they both were made the union territories. Now the constitutional questions which came forward before the Supreme Court was that, like Telangana, like Article 3 of the Constitution of India, it gives power to the Parliament to create a state, or to merge a state, or to create particular, exactly, shift the boundaries. And this was the Article 3 that made Telangana to happen now, reorganization of the state. Now the same Article 3 was also invoked for creating Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. And at that time, there was a president rule, Article 356. The president rule was promulgated in Jammu and Kashmir then, because by the time the government fell and the president rule was there. Now the thing is that these people who filed the case before the court, now we must understand the main intention. Generally what happens when there is a malafide in any order, any constitutional order or anything, or presidential order or anything, if there is a malafide, you have every right to go to the High Court or Supreme Court to question it. But here, what is the malafide which the petitioners were actually had? They never established any malafide. They all went only on technical grounds, basically, that while the state was under president rule, the Constituent Assembly was already existing, the presidential order it cannot be extended to the Jammu and Kashmir, because the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly was not in existence. That was what the question was raised. Even here, see, when Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh and Uttarakhand were created, these three states, the state assemblies have passed their resolutions. But for Telangana, there was no resolution. Then it came that, to the fore, that Article 3 does not mandate, or it does not require any resolution by the state government, state assemblies. Only consultation is required. Recommendation is there, and that recommendation is there. Now, under this, the Supreme Court has gone in several aspects. It is one of the points which I am telling, because during the arguments, we used to see that what were the questions being raised. Now, why here we should understand that those who had gone to the court, they have gone on the court on 2-3 main issues, and the court dealt mainly whether the Article 370 was temporary or not, and whether the amendment of the Article 367 is an exercise of so and so, and whether the Constitution of India could have been applied to the state of Jammu and Kashmir or not. These are the questions which came up, and we still believe that Constitution of India is supreme, and no state government, if they have their own constitution, cannot be above the Constitution of India, and they are only the subject and subordinate of the Constitution of India. So these were the questions which were actually dealt with the court in large, and they said that yes, the Parliament which has passed the resolution And in pursuance of that, the presidential order given by, not only that, see, the dangerous part is there. You have that permanent residencies in Kashmir. You don't have the women property right there.
If a woman marries,
If a woman marries, say, if you marry, say, she will lose other than the Kashmiri, she will lose all the property right. So there was a lot of injustice to the women also.
She marries a Pakistan, he will get a right.
He will get a right here, citizenship right. So that was all. So Article 35A deals with all those things actually. So therefore, Article 35A and Article 370 both were actually dealt very in detail. And the bench, in fact, and I think it was an unanimous judgment. There is no, all five had unanimous judgment. And so therefore, we should.
The Constituent Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir was dissolved on 26 January 1957.
1957 it was dissolved actually. So, but President rule was under promulgated, so therefore and the State Assembly was not there, so therefore the consultation was not there. All these questions were raised. But by and large, we should understand that India and Indians, they needed Article 370 to be abrogated if they believe that Kashmir is part of India or not. And Kashmir is part of India, as we say, that Kashmir ki baat chodo, Pakistan bhi hamara hai. If you say geographically, even Pakistan, Afghanistan, Akhand Bharat, these are all of us. So of course now we don't want to claim their lands, because you must understand, as I don't want to go into those issues, but still, last I'll just conclude by saying this. Late MP, Mr. Jaipal Reddy, so he asked all of us once sitting in some small get-together. So he asked me, what do you think about the partition of this country? Then I said, it is wrong, it should not have happened. Then what he said, hey Ramchandra, you are not able to understand, you are not able to really manage these 15% Muslims. If Pakistan would have been there, could you manage? So it is better they are gone. That's what, yeah, God permanently, you are, yeah. So you are lucky that it is not with you, it is not with you. But Kashmir is with us, though it has a Muslim majority in some regions. I had been to Ladakh this time, and I tell you, this time Ladakh had the highest number of tourists, more than Goa. And it's a beautiful place to visit actually. We are proud that our nation has got. And I was escorted by the military officials, so I went even to the end point of the Chinese places and all. Exactly, I'm not able to spell that. The Chinese border, where military people had a musical festival there. Yeah, and then Pangong Lake is there, beautiful place. Yes, sir.
For 48 hours I was kept there. Breathing.
Yes, sir.
You have to get
fresh air and
air is very rare.
And we have, and Sindh River falls is there. Sindh Sangam, Singh Pushkaras is performed there.
That's why I initiated Sindhu Darshan.
Sindhu Darshan is there, and we have been all named as Hindus because of that river Sindhu. So we feel proud, it is nostalgia for us that we belong to this particular area. So these are the few things which I wanted to say, because I don't want to go into dissect and do the postmortem of the judgment here. Vivek is there, who is more because I am basically a criminal advocate. I deal with all other cases. For constitutional validity and all, I think Vivek will be better to.
You're an advocate who does it. Argues criminal also. You're not a criminal.
Yeah, no, I'm not. That's what I say. He is not a criminal, he is a criminal advocate.
Yes, Vivek is a great son of a great.
Yes, Mr. Senior advocate, yes.
Thank you, sir, for providing the socio-political importance of abrogation of Article 370. So now I request Vivek, sir, to enlighten us about the legal dimension of this verdict and how important it is. What are the chances of this verdict?
And after, we have to think of after this, what shall we do? What should the intelligentsia in India do?
Sure, sure.
We are a Pragna Bharati.
Yes, sir. Good evening. I think it was only what, 2 weeks. Namaskar. No, I was saying to. It was only 2 weeks back which we had a very enlightening discussion on what amendments to the Constitution. But in between we have a very historic ruling. This is indeed a very historic ruling given the history through which Kashmir went through. See, we always, in every civics book, we say constitution is supreme. First, even every small child is taught, our constitution is a supreme document, constitution is a supreme document. But Indian constitution, we have this unique scenario where you try to protect a part of the territory of India from the constitution. This is a very unique, you create an oasis within the constitution. We're saying this oasis, the constitution will not apply. See, it's a very unique provision, and it was meant to be a temporary provision but lasted almost 73 years. So 370 itself, please understand, it's a very difficult provision in terms of you are trying to exempt the constitution from itself. And that was how the 370 came into the picture. It was meant to be, see, in our constitution, whenever we have a problem, like state of Andhra Pradesh in 1971, there was a lot of protests. Indira Gandhi said, okay, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh are protesting. Let's put some provision in the constitution and we will deal with it. That's how 371D came. Similarly, each state has what is called as a special provision. Kashmir, they did not create a special provision. They put in a chapter called special provisions. We have a chapter called special provisions whereby, see, for example, in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, if someone from outside Maharashtra wants to come and study, we say, no, we can't do it. Like all National Integration Council, we say we can't do it. Because we created a special provision, saying that only people from Telangana and Andhra can do it. That's quite unfortunate. But we created a special provision whereby we created exemption from the constitution.
Similarly, Marathwada also has got a provision.
Similarly,
Protected from Maharashtra.
Several states have got these special provisions. It is justified on the ground that its diversity is there. But there is only one provision which we call as a temporary provision. And the temporary provision is the Kashmir provision. Now, why was it meant to be made temporary? Please note, there's a big distinction between Indian constitution and, let's say, something like the American constitution. In the American constitution, several states like Texas, New York, all these 13 states, they came together and then they formed a union. In other words, these states existed even before the United States of America is called. That's why they call it United States of America. In India, none of these states were there before. We are an indestructible union of destructible states. The states were created after the union came. That's why in the United States, this is a very important point note, like in most federal constitutions, that said each state has its own constitution. Each state, if you're a United States citizen, you will have a citizen of New York and you're a citizen of America. There will be a constitution of New York, there will be a constitution of USA. We departed from that model. We said if we have that model, then we'll have 30 countries in the next future. We will not follow that model. We'll have a strong union with states being given powers. But with Kashmir, we departed from that principle. That's why it's very important to understand what a big departure Kashmir was. If you're a Kashmir, there is as Sir was pointing out, there is an Indian constitution, there is a Kashmiri constitution. You're a Kashmiri citizen and an Indian citizen. This was meant to be a temporary feature. It was meant to be a temporary feature until around about 1954 or 1957. But because of the unfortunate circumstances, what was supposed to end by 1954, it continued till 2019. And that was the urgency by which this has to be good. Now, in the constitution for Kashmir, there is, as Sir was pointing out, Indian Penal Code did not apply. They had a Ranveer Penal Code, Ranveer Constitution, citizenship. This was incompatible with our constitutional scheme. As I said, like if someone says there is no Telangana constitution, but you have a Kashmir constitution. So this was the feature which had to be gone away. Now in the Article 370, so this was the first feature of Article 370. The second feature was Article 370 draft got incorporated into the constitution even before our Constituent Assembly came into the picture. As a consequence, they put a protection saying that if for any reason and if you want to discontinue Article 370, you must have a recommendation from the Constituent Assembly of not India, from Jammu and Kashmir. Very important. See, if you want to discontinue Article 370, that Constituent Assembly you must get a recommendation. That was a protection given. That's what this. Now that Jammu and Kashmir Constituent Assembly got disbanded by 1957. So when the petitioners challenged Article 370, they said this is a permanent provision. Without amending the constitution, how can you remove this permanent provision? And therefore, this cannot be done. That is number one. The second point they urged was that if you want to discontinue Article 370, you must take the consent of the Constituent Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir. Since that is not there, it must be the Legislative Assembly. The third point that they argued was that since the Legislative Assembly at that time was President's rule, when the state is in President's rule, you cannot take such a big decision. So you either let the elections happen, let people be elected, only after their vote you can do it. And four, you can't convert a state into a union territory, and therefore this cannot be done. It's very important to note what was decided. So to understand what was decided, this is what the 4 points they said, that you cannot do this. Now, it's very important to figure out what this court said, and I'll deal with each of these points. But the first point was what the court said was that, is it a permanent provision? The court said that just because the provision has been in existence for 73 years does not make it permanent. When the intention was very clear, it was put in a chapter called temporary provision. So when it was put in a chapter called temporary provision, the intention was to be temporary. You can't say, in fact, the petitioners, a lot of them argued that Kashmir is different from other states like Maharashtra. You know, Kashmir is an internal sovereignty. They said Kashmir is sovereign and Indian sovereign different. The court said no. Only India is sovereign. You can't say one state is sovereign within that. All states are this thing. So this special status to Kashmir, that was thankfully rejected by the court. So this concept that we are a permanent provision was rejected by the court. The second point, and this was the most stringently argued, all of them said that since you must have a prior recommendation of the Constituent Assembly, there is no Constituent Assembly here. So therefore, till the Constituent Assembly is constituted, you can't touch Kashmir. I think the court, and it was said that given that Kashmir was under President's rule, and if it's President's rule, the settled principle, whether that law applies for Kashmir, the law applies for Telangana, the law applies for Andhra Pradesh, any state. If you are in a President's rule, whatever are the powers which are exercised by the state assembly is exercised by the parliament. Now you can't say, oh, when parliament is exercising it, they can't do this, but they cannot do that. So whatever powers the state assembly can do, they can do. And since parliament has affirmed it, it was strictly within the four then I'll tell what my view is. But it's important to know why Kashmir, they also, as a part of this, they also created a union territory. One union territory of Ladakh was created. So the criticism about this was that tomorrow, and they always attribute malified against the government, sir. It's a national hobby. So one of the criticisms is that tomorrow, if they follow this, if this is allowed, then let's say if Karnataka government does not like Karnataka government or they does not like Telangana government, then without consent of Telangana government, overnight they can convert the state into union territory. And if what has done in Kashmir, it will have the death of Indian federalism is what they have. It was what was very argued for quite some time. The government gave an assurance that we will restore from a union territory, we will restore into a statehood. And the Supreme Court ultimately went by that assurance of the government that we will restore into a statehood. So the criticism against a judgment is that if you have laid a path towards converting several states, tomorrow you can convert Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh into union territories, and if this is followed, it can easily be done. How could you have relied on the assurance of the government to do this? Now, strictly speaking, as a matter of constitutional law, if you go strictly by the book, yes, there is some merit in this. You have to decide the validity of action based on what is actually done. But I think where this critics stand mistaken is that Kashmir was a very unconventional article in an unconventional scenario with a very unconventional challenge. Like this kind of situation does not arise anywhere, where you are simply saying the state itself is independent of the union. And therefore, I don't think that there was no other way to merge Kashmir into the Indian Union. In fact, constitutionalism is all about spreading the constitution and making it even more deeper. But the entire Kashmir, special status to Kashmir, is itself anathema or itself a question mark on the constitution being supreme. Aberration. It's itself an aberration. So this is a one-of-a-kind situation, and therefore that judgment in the facts of that case, I don't think tomorrow that can be applied to Maharashtra or any other state for that matter. By this process, you are trying to merge Kashmir make it part of a constitutional setup and ensure that everybody gets the same rights. This concept of I will be a Telangana citizen and an Indian citizen, if it sounds ridiculous to you, imagine that ridiculous notion was there for 73 years in Kashmir. So the objective of this was to dissolve this concept of special status within the Indian Union. And I think, therefore, in that unique circumstances, I think that I would believe the ruling was right. I don't think it would apply in the facts of any other case. So I would say for these 4 reasons, I would say that judgment is correct way, and it rectified a historic inaccuracy. But as I said, I always, there are several country makers, nation makers in India. Shama Prasad Mukherjee is one, and small idea of one person became a reality 73 years later. I think that's why I will always say, you can never stop an idea whose time had come. It took 73 years for that idea has come and successfully done so. I think we should all acknowledge the spirit of the great man. Thank you.
Now, how about this? Can we have 2 separate states? Jammu is one state and Kashmir is another state, just like Telangana.
There's nothing prohibiting from doing it.
So the desirability otherwise is a political decision.
In this case, the Solicitor General has given undertaking that they will soon take the steps to convert the unity as state. Solicitor General has.
They state or states?
State, it will restore statehood.
Yeah.
Afterwards, they can give delivery.
Sorry, sir?
Afterwards, they can deliver.
Absolutely.
Sir, one doubt. See, as you have been hearing and reading the newspapers, that if we come to power, we will again reimpose. What are the chances?
No,
It should not happen. My strong. It must not happen.
See,
So now it's open for asking doubts or giving suggestions.
Yeah, I think please introduce yourself and then try to be as brief as possible so that many can get an opportunity.
Because Supreme Court has given this order in land of law of the land. So again, if the process has to be the parliamentary process.
आपको शुभराम बताइए पहले.
My name is BHARATHI. I'm ex-chief manager from Bharat Petroleum. BHARATHI. I'm chief marketing manager retired from Bharat Petroleum, Government of India. Petroleum company. Now I'm settled in Hyderabad.
Yes, you had a question.
Yeah, I had a question. Like, many people, all the political system, they say that yes, when we come back to power, we'll again reimpose 370, which I don't want. But will it happen?
See,
What are the chances?
there is no limitation for stupidity and stupid actions in our country. So yes, like they can always undo this process. They can all, but it will take it's a very difficult process, but it's not impossible. So whether it's politically, so I think saying just because this judgment does not mean that it's forever put in the box and it can never come out. It can always come out, but I'm hoping that now that see more than one thing I've noticed, sir, compared to in the north, the amount of support this action had, like I was present during some of the hearings, the question of dissenting, any judgment, like usually in most of the we have one dissenting judgment or the other. The amount of enthusiasm, support it has across the political spectrum, I'm not saying it was not this spot. I would be surprised if it would happen. I would be very, very shocked if it would happen.
But how the Muslim people are saying?
No, only the some part of Congress and some people.
They commit for the Narayan.
But see, YS again, the TRS, PDP, all these MPs have voted supporting the application.
No, sir. TRS voted against.
No, I don't.
I won't be surprised, sir.
No, I told you what has happened. Keshav, the tallest leader of TRS. No, he said the partition of India was not on the basis of religion. It was a clash between Nehru and Jinnah. So this is nothing to do with religion. So Article 370 is something which they have agreed and they should stand. He voted against the bifurcation of the state.
In Rajya Sabha. You Lok Sabha.
No, but
They voted against the motion.
no, but to give credit where it's due, several Congress members voted in favor of it. So they had to do several things, sir, but they don't do it. So this is thing.
Is there any punishment?
Kindly introduce yourself.
Okay, sorry. I'm related to the practicing charge of I have one question. Is there any punishment for anybody going against the Supreme Court decision and speaking against the courts?
No,
We in our chartered which is established in the professional negligence and penal action. Similarly, as a citizen of India, if I go against and spread qualified intentions, defame the court, is there any punishment?
That is there. You can criticize the judgment, not the judge.
yeah. No, you can't. You can always critique the judgment and all of that. But I think I don't think you can criticize. But in this case, sir, I would say let any amount of criticism go by. I think people have to accept this. They've already accepted it.
No,
Kashmiri sir.
his question was whether if you criticize any action is there. But if you criticize judges, if you are attributably malified, then definitely contempt. Not judgment. Judgment is open.
Already 66A of the IT Act.
Even we will have contempt.
Fair criticism is allowed, sir, only but if you scandalize the court and all, then criminal.
You can't attribute to the people who are given judgment.
So because Pragna Bharati, we are meant to understand the narratives and how to counter those narratives from Pragna Bharati point of view. The top 5 or 6 narratives are, first of all, one of them we have already addressed. First of all, does it need people consent? Anything. So one of the key criticisms is, does it need people consent for changing laws? You have already answered saying, Telangana, it has been done without people consent because obviously we vote against it. The second.
No, but let's go one by one. Yes, I'm very happy. When you say people consent, it's very important for Pragna Bharati. Which people? That's what I'm saying. So the consent, so Parliament represents both J&K people and the people of India.
So, using In the
Consent.
outside,
Hmm.
when they say this is what is going to happen to you, anti-federalism, you have to go against your consent tomorrow.
Yes.
Today it has happened against the consent of J&K people.
Hmm.
Tomorrow it will be Telangana,
Hmm.
other states. How do we counter this? Legally, of course, politically, legally,
So legally, the law is very clear. At least that you can always bifurcate a state, but you have to take the state's prior opinion. But we have never written saying that if you want to bifurcate, you must take the prior consent. That was consciously dropped by the state. So if you're asking me tomorrow, can you bifurcate Uttar Pradesh or Karnataka into two states? The answer is yes. But there's a big process which has to go through.
the counter narrative to that is we are saying we don't have manifest intention.
Hmm.
That is the only argument we have. Because the intention is not manifest, all the actions are justified. Tomorrow, it will still be the manifest intention of the government if they intend to create a separation of states. Legally, only hiding or the resources, the intention, which is again judgmental on the part of the judiciary, they have to decide whether it is, for example, if they had decided this action was malified, the judgment would have been very different.
Yeah, but more than malified, I agree. Sir was pointing out malified is a very important thing, and they did not attribute malified. But the question is, in these, when you take these big steps, is the process being followed? As long as the process is being followed, malified, of course, it plays a role. But if the steps are being followed, for example, in Telangana, all the people went to the Supreme Court and said, how can you break open a state and without when the assembly? This is the first time in the history of independent India where the state said, please don't do it. Despite that, they went ahead and did it. Can that be done? And the court said, of course, court has not given a final ruling on that, but that matter is still pending in the Supreme Court. But I don't think as long as that process is followed, it will be very difficult to challenge it.
Public, we have to find politically only, legally, there is no answer yet.
Yes, no.
Never be encounter any issue. The second thing is, the gentleman already asked, is it reversible? Again, the answer is yes.
Yes.
Reversible. The only thing is, again, is as long as people want BJP to power, BJP retains its character, it is unlikely that it may be reversed.
I am willing to make a prediction also here.
Told
Yeah.
that if we say North India or not, there's strong sentiment. So
It is
no one will venture to reverse it.
Another 75 years, another 100
And
years.
there is a tedious process for it.
So, the point is, should we intend to enact a law which takes care of this?
No. This, I question your fund. See, the protection of national integrity of the country cannot be left just to the lawyers and judges. Protection of national integrity of the country goes beyond the law. It has to be a political process.
Again, it is not always in the court. We have to find it.
Sir, my question is not answered.
What, sir?
What should we do? What should be our political opinion? Yes, there will be elections. An assembly will come. When I go to the elections, can I say that I will bifurcate into two states? That's what we have to recommend. Or no, there will be elections by September, according to Supreme Court, September 24. Before that, there should be elections.
The delimitation process is already over.
Only
Delimitation process is already over there.
over. So elections will be held. When I go to the elections, I go with a platform, isn't it? So what should be our platform? Should it be divided into, yes, we go there and legislate for two states.
It should be divided into two steps.
You know what is our Pragna Bharati?
Whatever is
No,
happening in J&K,
to shape opinion.
True? Huh.
No, to shape, why are you discussing it? To create their opinion.
Yeah, I do agree. I think the whole delimitation process itself is vitiated. This is the wrong process which is wrong. Because the 2011 census based on which the delimitation happened was completely fraudulent and fake. This was completely driven by the two families in the valley. So what has happened is they have
double-counted the number of Muslims in both the places, based on which now we have done a delimitation. Essentially, what you have done is you have not changed the scenario at all.
But if you challenge it in the Supreme Court,
You can't challenge it. It's a governmental administrative decision. So you can't challenge it. They have the right to do delimitation anytime. They can do it.
The next delimitation commission, they have right to do it.
Yeah. The problem is across the country, 2021 census never happened. So the problem here is the government seems to be in a tearing urgency to get this done, to prove to the whole world that we are democratic, then we are restoring it. That seems to be the driving force in the government. So they said, we'll see what happens, let's get this done. Had they waited for a census, let's say 2022 or 23, they would have done a census. And then they would have gone for a delimitation. I'm sure Jammu would have got 50 seats and the Valley would have got around 42 or 43 seats. Because we know the dynamics, we know the demography of both these places. Just because we have 50 seats, again, doesn't guarantee that you want to have a Hindu chief minister. Because there are pockets in Poonch, in Kishtwar, in Naushera, which are all Muslim dominated. So, still, Jammu as a region would have had a much larger say in the governance. Unfortunately, this delimitation has not solved the whole problem. There is a movement in Jammu where they want a separate state. Separate Jammu state movement is already there. BJP is extremely unpopular in Jammu.
can there be separate census for each state? Some states want earlier.
No, that is the government to take it call. They can do it. They can do it.
Yeah, they can do it, but it's, but
Let me conclude this. The problem is they don't have an alternative to BJP's routine. At the ground grassroots level, they are very, very upset and angry about BJP.
because,
This is the ground level.
because,
Jammu's interests are not protected. That's their concern.
That's what happened in
So I have toured extensively in Jammu region. I know what's the ground. But unfortunately, they don't have an alternative. They can't do it for Congress. So they're going to leave.
Demographic change.
Yeah, there are challenges out there. That is a challenge in Jammu. So Jammu and Kashmir, in the widest wisdom of the government, they decided that they should not be bifurcated. There should be a single continuum. That's how the government has decided. So they must have had enough inputs to say that it should be kept unified. I'm not challenging that decision. All I'm saying is the delimitation you have done should have been done in a more professional way and in a more acceptable way. That's the only question I have.
That cannot be open.
Pardon?
That cannot be open.
They can. Government can decide maybe 2 years from now. They can do it.
In the next census, it can.
It's for the government to take it. It's an administrative.
Where is the next census?
Sir, 2024 next year we are doing census. Next year also we are doing 2026. 24. Next year census so we may do it again. But
India or only
Because of the COVID and other factors, they should do it.
So the next question is, sorry, why can't J&K retain special status like all the other states in the market? Why are you so much against J&K?
no, special status we are fine, not exemption from the constitution. No, so like for example, like for Sikkim, Arunachal, there are some special provisions. See, they were integrated in India, but their demand was that, see, our culture, our tribes were there. So we don't fit into, like, some of them have matrilineal system, some of them have group system, we occupy in a group. No, so we may not fit into your the conventional setup. So we have some special characteristics. Please protect those special characteristics. Please remember this. There's a difference between a temporary provision and a special provision.
They don't fall under part 21 of the Constitution. They fall on different part where there is a provision of the Constitution which protect their interest. But 370 is a temporary and terrestrial provision.
No.
So it is only Jammu and Kashmir falls under it.
No. I want to point. In the judgment, they spend a lot of time dealing with the same point. A special provision can be permanent, but a temporary provision merely because it has gone for a long time does not become permanent. So let's say, for example, I'll give you, like Sir was pointing out, Article 371, special provision for Maharashtra and Gujarat. When they were split apart, there's some special provisions with 371D, with Telangana and Andhra. Nagaland we have. Several states have these special provisions, Assam. Special provision can be permanent.
For reason aspirations.
But you cannot make but these special provisions are not a full exemption of the constitution. Like small tweaks for their unique culture. That is permissible. What Kashmir had was complete. They said unless the president directs, none of Indian laws will apply.
These are not comparable at all.
Absolutely not.
J&K enjoyed till today. It's not enjoyed. So removing it is not the same as keeping the.
Absolutely.
J&K had a special status. J&K had a special status. The other states you're mentioning about 371, that's not a special status.
But that is
Yeah, that's the narrative we need to say.
Special category.
So there, the laws are passed by the Parliament of India for them. For Jammu and Kashmir, under Article 370, the laws cannot be passed by Bharat. So in all laws that you pass, you say this law applies to the whole of India except the state of Jammu and Kashmir. So that means it even applies to the states where 371 applies. So that is the fundamental difference between those.
See a lot of these articles. Oh, later something that lost in part of section. My question is, see a lot of these, parallels being drawn between Kashmir and Palestine, especially in the last 2-3 days, and all these activists gang in America is doing this. So, can you shed some light on it, and how can we counter it? And also, what exactly is the Roshni Act and the consequences of it in Jammu?
Political, you are the best person to deal politically.
Yesterday when I was traveling in a cab in London, so my driver was a Kosovo, he was from Kosovo. And Kosovo was partitioned from Albania. They were all part of Slovakia and all, they were part of Yugoslavia. No, you will not see Yugoslavia anywhere. And that Kosovo, the driver was telling me, sir, I love India but I am angry with India. I said, why? He said, because you are not recognized as Kosovo as a nation. So then I said, why? I don't know, I don't have much in this. Because of Kashmir, sir, he said. He said, because Kashmir also wanted special, because Kosovo unilaterally got divided from Albania, Slovakia.
Just like Gaza got
Divided from
Palestinian.
Exactly. So it is that's why he said the other constitution, other countries are different. We are another nation. We are a nation. We are not a multi-nation. We are a nation. So that question will not. That's why in Europe many countries have got divided. Small countries, big countries. Slovakia, Bulgaria, Kosovo, Bissau. You will find many like that. And the Indian peacekeeping force goes there to protect them.
Kosovo is only a city state.
Very city state, only 1 billion population. So these things are there, but you can't draw parallel to this to Palestine or any other. It is part of our country. That's why I told Kashmir Hindustan का नहीं किसी के बाप का, that is different. Kashmir के बाद छोड़ो, Pakistan भी हमारा है. That's what I'm telling you.
I think my take on that would be that the root cause is Islam, as simple as that. Whoever is not Islam, doesn't belong to Islam, or so immediately, automatically, what happens is your wajud qatl, that you are fit to die. You don't have a right to exist. So is the case with Jews. Jews have zero right to exist. So is the case with Kafirs. So the narrative, though they're completely different, chalk and cheese, they try to bring a parallel for both, because again the commonality is the term of Islam, because they are Muslims. So if the whole narrative is built on Kashmir. Again, the biggest narrative is even what Home Minister said in Parliament. That itself, in my view, is a victim of the narrative. He spoke of the term called POK. Pakistan occupied Kashmir. Pakistan does not have a single citizen speaking Kashmiri. They created this bogus called Kashmir. What they call Azad Jammu Kashmir, there is no Kashmir with them. The entire Kashmir Valley is with us. Sheikh Abdullah agreed for a ceasefire because all the areas under his Kashmiri influence was with us. So he said, now we declare ceasefire. Except the village of Shardi, where the Sharda Peeth is there, and a couple of small villages around it, no Kashmiri speaking territory is with Pakistan.
Mirpur is
That is Western
land
Jammu.
category.
That is Western Jammu.
That is why Israel is
That is
not
Western
agreeing for
Jammu.
a ceasefire.
Even the MP in Ladakh.
They have people speaking Dogra, Punjabi, Saraiki. They have no village which speaks Kashmiri there. This is a whole bogus they created. We should stop calling it POK. We should say POJK. So it is part of the state of Jammu and Kashmir, but what they have is Western Jammu. They do not have Kashmir.
Mr. Abraham Krishnan, you had a question, no?
So I have a question. My name is Dheeraj and I'm a law student. So the question is regarding the procedural clause. Like there are some criticism that due procedure was not followed with regard to presidential notification.
Yes.
That under Article 370 there is a clause 3
Yes.
that says any foreign notifications or these things can only be implemented with assembly, legislative assembly,
Constituent Assembly.
constitutional assemblies permission. So here the President of India has already released a notification without the constitutional assembly's consent. So what they were saying is instead they should have gone for Article 368, that is amending the constitution. So again the judgment, I don't know what was given in the judgment, so if you could shed light on that. And also about federal feature, the federal feature of constitution, that is union and the federalism. There is no word called federalism, but still many people are criticizing that making a union territory. So we have seen, even with regards to AP reorganization, that people in the AP were demanding special status. So all these regional sentiments are being tracked. So how do we see this? Where do we draw a line between the union and federal? How do we see this?
See, as Supreme Court will only interpret the constitution it has in front of it. Like what is constitutionally desirable is different from what is constitutionally legal. So the constitution clearly said you need to have a recommendation of the Constituent Assembly of Kashmir. But Constituent Assembly of Kashmir got dissolved in 1957. So where will they now see how much they want you to rewrite the constitution? You want to substitute Constituent Assembly of Kashmir with Legislative Assembly of Kashmir. They didn't even say Legislative Assembly. Get referendum from the people. So you can't expect the Supreme Court to rewrite the constitution because you don't like that provision. It's very simple. A recommendation of the Constituent Assembly of Kashmir that ceased to exist in 57. At best, you can say Constituent Assembly means State Legislative Assembly. But State Legislative Assembly was on President's rule, so therefore Parliament will exercise it. Now they went and said, no, Parliament cannot do it because this is so draconian and dramatic and irreversible.
But sir, they're talking of amending the constitution. If you amend the constitution, you take the approval of all the states again.
Not required, not necessarily. Some amendments required.
I just wanted to say that, when I was reading this whole business of the judgment, the court did not say that, you restore statehood and then hold election. It did not say that. So the question of, the statehood as a precursor to election doesn't arise.
No, if the Solicitor General has stated that statehood of Jammu and Kashmir will be restored. Except carving out of the Union of Ladakh, that's all. So, basing on his undertaking, it is a part of the judgment because the court may not say, but it is undertaking given.
It's there in the last one, sir. We direct that steps taken by Election Commission of India, so and so, under the restoration of the state.
Restoration of statehood shall take place at the earliest and soonest possible.
Yeah, but that is not linked to the election. That is not linked to the election.
No. See, we direct the steps shall be taken by the Election Commission of India to conduct elections to the Legislative Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir constituted under Article Section 14 of the Reorganization Act of 30/2024. This is reason.
Correct.
And restoration of statehood shall take place at the earliest and as soon as possible.
Correct. But
it is not linked to
linked to it.
They are not linked.
So our contention is,
So
it
therefore,
will be a Delhi model election
Statehood
only.
is restored, then only election will take.
No, it will not.
No,
It
no.
will be a Delhi model election.
Separate.
Lieutenant Governor will be there. There will be a legislature like in Delhi.
So you
It will carry on and the restoration will happen later.
Okay, can we develop that narrative on behalf of Pragna Bharati?
No, see, that is up government to decide.
No.
Government may decide to restore statehood before election.
No,
It is their
irrespective of
choice.
what government decides, can we spread this narrative? Because other side they are spreading a lot of narrative, right?
Yeah, they call it what is it? They call it the jurisprudence of pinky promise. They said, like this guy went and Solicitor General, government lawyer went and said we'll restore it, and Supreme Court believed in his thing, said it can't do it like that. But man, this is an unconventional article, unconventional scenario, unconventional judgment. I don't. It can't be replicated for anything else. I think for here it will be appropriate.
No, I will go like, when Telangana and Andhra was bifurcated, there was a promise given as a special status created.
But that is not done anyway.
It was not ordered. Whatever it is, it was not being done. So you can use that and then spread a narrative on this particular point.
See, it's in the larger wisdom of the government, depending on the security scenario there, and its ability to absorb full-scale political situation, they will restore it. If they don't, if they are not comfortable for whatever reasons, they will continue with this model. There will be lieutenant governor and there will be assembly elections, like in Delhi. So they will not have full control. The law and order will be in the control of the government only, central government only. Then, as and when situation improves there, then they will restore the statehood. That is why in the Solicitor General's comments, he very clearly said, as soon as possible. He never gave a deadline, or did he say that we will do it before the election.
Yeah.
These two are completely independent.
But the court said before September 24.
No, before September, only elections.
So, but I understand the.
And that too is, it's just, what do you say, recommendatory. Tomorrow election commission and government in their own wisdom say 30th September we can't hold the election. It's not a contempt of court. You are not going against the judgment.
No, sir.
Because holding the election is always the prerogative of the election commission. If the situation, law and order there is not good enough, they can always defer it. They can look for another day.
No, sir.
It's not binding on the government.
I understand the skepticism of both. This is very important. I understand the skepticism that both Jammu and Kashmir should be separate states. That's where you can preserve their cultural and historical ideology. I am slightly more optimistic, even if it is not segregation, because see, till now Kashmir was an oasis in terms of it is cut off from India. Indians could not go and buy property there. There was a lot of issues in terms of moving, going, investment coming in. I think now with the upholding of Article 370, the doors of Kashmir have opened fine wide. Investment will go in, jobs will go in, people will go in. And I think once that happens, automatically I think maybe not now, 5 years from now, we will see a far more integrated Kashmir with the rest of India.
Projected scenario will be different, definitely different.
Different scenario.
Yeah, but it will not happen before 30th September.
So please correct.
Maybe not.
With all this, probably the government could have avoided had they amended the constitution, then abrogated it. Just opinion.
No, see,
That
it could have been done? Maybe yes. But see, please see, this had to be done in this way only.
Okay,
Because I'll tell you why. This is, see, on one sudden morning, Home Minister Amit Shah got up and did it. If you started doing, everybody said there should have been wide consultations. If there was wide consultations, this would not have happened. This would not have happened. Like I'm telling, this is the only way this could have been done. In this, see, an illegal article came in overnight by something and went out overnight. That's the only way it can happen.
My point is like to Sir Hanumanchoudary, going back a little bit into history, we have said that, we have said that many people were against it. Dr. Ambedkar was against 370, Sardar Patel was against 370. We keep reading about all these issues. Yet 370 was, this resolution was passed, it was approved by the country, the entire resolution was passed in the Constituent Assembly by all these parliaments.
Without the Congress Party approval, it could not have been done.
Yeah.
Right, the Congress Party approved because Sardar Patel obeying or respecting the Nehru's speech persuaded them.
Entire Constituent Assembly has passed it.
Pardon me?
Entire Constituent Assembly has passed it knowing fully well that it's a separatist provision. So I can't find any sort of explanation for that. Why did they do so?
Only Nehru.
Nehru ఒక్కడే లేడు
I don't know why they but
Parliament
we keep reading that everybody is
Ambedkar has
against
said
and
that
everybody passes
it
the
is
vote.
fortunate that we have got a Congress party. Otherwise, it would have been a pell-mell. Constituent Assembly would have been a pell-mell. Actually, decisions were taken in the Congress party, and then that is implemented in the
Cabinet included Shyam Prasad Mukherjee also. Everything was passed by the cabinet as well as the constituent assembly. That is one point.
Cabinet was different.
He resigned much later. 53 was not. Yeah, but not during this particular term.
It was very, very complex situation. It was the Parliament also. The Constitution was acting as the Parliament also.
And they passed
Therefore,
without any reservations or anything.
they got different roles. Sardar Patel had a different role in the Parliament.
Farooq Abdullah has set up a narrative. I don't know how many of you have heard it. As soon as he came out from the parliament, he said Nehru was not even in India when Article 370 was.
This I mentioned to you.
Yeah. Sardar Patel who did it is a narrative he is building.
He was a timid fellow. He could not face the Congress. So he asked Sardar Patel to do it. And Sardar Patel has promised to Gandhi that never again will I be against Nehru.
He stayed the whole.
It was Hanuman's word to Rama like that. Only after Gandhi was dead, then Nehru Patel challenged Nehru and defeated him. In the 1950 elections to the Congress party presidency, Nehru put up Kripalani, Sardar Patel put up Maharshi Tandon. Who won? Tandon won. And then Sardar Patel said, now you know what is Congress? Then there was a Surat Congress. So at the Surat Congress, Nehru said, I are Tandon.
Sir, cabinet lo anni parties unnaru, constituent assembly lo anni parties unnaru. It is not just Congress.
No, there is no other party.
They are all parties.
Nominated for constitutional.
By courtesy of Congress, that Kushruswamy, that Gopal, Ambedkar were all there. Because Gandhi said they gave freedom not to Congress, so he gave freedom to India.
Hari Singh was removed as Raj Pramukh and so on. Karan Singh was made the Raj Pramukh. Even though Hari Singh was removed and he was deposed as Raj Pramukh, Karan Singh, who is part of the Congress party still, he was made the Raj Pramukh.
He was 18 years. He was 18 or less than 18 years.
No, he was not Raj Pramukh. Raj Pramukh was Raja Hari Singh only. Karan Singh was a regent. He was representative of Raja Hari Singh. Let me complete. He was a regent till Raja Hari Singh was alive. After Raja Hari Singh died, he became the Pramukh. So as long as Raja Hari Singh was there, he was the legal titular head. Even after merger, he was a Raj Pramukh, and Karan Singh was his only his representative.
Was it only to receive the privy purses?
Privy purses and signing any orders which Sheikh Abdullah asked him to sign.
Oh no, only Karan Singh was signing, not
correct. No, not Raja. He was a regent of the king.
So it was basically something like a fait accompli. Everybody was part of it, everybody approved it, everybody recommended it, everybody passed it. That's the whole
next generation.
That's what the Congress party is always like that. It has always been like that.
Sir, I have another question. Part of narrative again, very important. Some activists in this particular case have argued differential rights of citizens of JNK.
That's right, very important.
Okay. Differential rights. Shailja, very important for our narrative. Some of the lawyers, they have argued for differential rights of citizens of JNK. They hold special rights. And yet the same activists have fought for equal rights when it comes to Sabarimala or LGBT. Now in that they don't want discrimination, but in this they want discrimination. This is how they build narratives. How do we counter it? So is there a legal basis for that?
See, there is a saying,
only political again?
Show me the person, I will apply the law. Show me the person.
No, but we need to understand.
And whatever you want, I will show the law.
In my itself I told you that activists who are seeking for women rights or woman right, all those things and all. So now they are fighting for something else outside. But when it comes to Kashmir, they are not doing it. So by this, they are all getting equal rights.
Somebody is asking.
Yeah.
No, see, when it comes to the rights of Muslims, right, equal rights and all will vanish.
Yes.
So again, when you get back to the narrative, it's the Saat Makkah.
There are special category people,
Saat Makkah.
In that way,
What Choudary ji says,
So what
NIRs, non-Indian residents.
When people say differential rights in their arguments, we say equal rights.
RNIs,
We are saying the opposite.
RNIs.
When they say equal rights,
Resident
we
non-Indians.
talk about differential rights.
The human rights are all selective.
Yes.
Sure.
not really in that way. See, legally we can defend in one way is like if they want differential rights, Article 14 actually promises equality. Only unequals can be treated otherwise. Otherwise, everyone have to be treated equally. In what way they are unequals to us?
But
If you want to give us differential
off the
treatment,
record, the same people are given judgments in that.
Let me show me the man, I will give the judgment.
I have one last question. I think after the delimitation, they have put they have designated some seats as SC and ST seats also. As far as I know, SC and ST seats do apply or largely only for Hindu community. So how do you do that for the valley, where there are no Hindus, just Muslims?
And then the census, wherever they
ST, I agree. ST
population wise, yes, sir. If there are no ST, they will not pay you.
No, they will have to. Because it's not about population, you have to designate some seats.
The SC and ST is always based on
So my point is, can the HG or whoever is the government designate some communities of Muslims as scheduled castes?
Northeast states probably problem they resolved it. The delimitation, like sir said. Like Sikkim may not have only scheduled tribes only, but no scheduled castes. But they resolved it that way. They didn't notify.
Yeah, but there are Buddhists. They are still governed by your Hindu Marriage Act and other things.
Like for
Whereas here they are Muslims, right?
Nagaland doesn't have.
Sikkim is Buddhist.
There is no scheduled caste. Let's say Nagaland. We don't like Sikkim as an example. Nagaland.
Nagaland 100% Christian.
Yeah, there is no scheduled caste, but still, so the constitutional provision saying reservation for scheduled caste, they have modified it for that one.
Other religions, scheduled tribe status.
Scheduled tribe, I have no problem.
For example, for example, in Hyderabad, BCE only kada mana. Whole city have got BC category.
That you need to have, you need to have separate round table for that.
He said, it stay rather. He said, creamy layer is not classified. We have done a creamy layer in the case. And the Betty Ramesh Nagar stay this school. And now it's still pending people to Supreme Court.
This session, I first want to thank management of Binamji and Mukti Garu for providing this facility and always supporting Pragna Bharati. And then I want to thank MSc Ramchandra Rao Garu, Vivek Reddy Garu, Niharika Reddy Garu, and of course our chairman Choudary Garu for sharing their knowledge and helping us understand this judgment and political and social context of this entire scenario. Thank you very much, and thank you everybody for being here today.
Your name you did not say, Veda Samhita. Her name is Veda Samhita.
Thank you.
Her name is Veda Samhita.
Veda Samhita.
चलिए
चलिए
Oh, sorry.
10 months मेरा हमारा बजट है
अधिनायक जयते भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभाशिष
भारत माता की